How's it going, guys? Some of you have asked me to go beyond the Tide cold water clean when it comes to odor control from smoke, pets, whatever. So I'm working on a rental, a loaner car, and even though it does have the warnings inside the car for no smoking, heavy cigar smoke, came back with a heavy odor. We're going to take care of that today. Although I am going to use the Tide cold water clean, I'm going to show you 3 chemicals that are the last line of defense when it comes to these odors. This is one right here. It's the UNSMOKE Degrease. Another one is going to be the Odor X 9D9. And the last resort is exactly that. It's called Last Resort. Again, by Odor X, and these are chemicals used by fire and water damage repairmen that also clean up crime scenes. And when I speak of crime scenes, it could be anything from bodily fluids to whole bodies that have to be cleaned up that have been in various states of decay. So along with the cleanup of solids, there is odor to take care of. They're professionals and do this every day, and I kind of soak this information from them. I'm going to pass it on to you. Okay, so the rules and regulations and labels that this rental company has in place are not only ignored but ridiculed, especially this one right here. Alright, so the UNSMOKE Degreaser, 2 ounces in my simple green, 2 ounces in my Tide. I'm also going to put an ounce in my window cleaner, and I'm also going to put 4 ounces in the extractor. And by the way, the Simple Green Fresh Scent has been my favorite go-to for light, extra light cleaning, maintenance only because of the scent. So here we put 4 ounces in our extractor, which I already have a mixture of Tide Cold Water Clean and a shampoo. And the first thing we do before anything else is blow out the area with forced air. Not only is it a soot, it's a soot like any kind of fire would produce, but it also turns into a film. So that film can stick on any kind of loose dirt, loose dust, any kind of loose particles, and we want to blow those out of there first before we start cleaning. Most fires or fire damage produces a soot, a loose soot, but for cigarettes, cigars, and pipe smoke, whatever else you want to throw in there, it produces a soot, but it turns into a film shortly after it sticks to the surface. For the sake of giving you time to enjoy the rest of your evening, I'm going to just show you bits and pieces of the process. This one is important. We want to get everywhere and blow out and kind of get that soot and loose particles and dust particles circulating and get them out of there. And we can go on to the next step, which will be in the back where most of the passengers were doing most of the smoking. And that's where we're going to start and concentrate the cleaning. And I'll give you a good step-by-step back there. First things first, and that is a thorough vac. The car isn't dirty. It's not dirty whatsoever, but it's in because of the smoke damage cleanup. It is it's a tedious process. You have to get every square inch of the car, and concentrating on the headliner is key. That's where the smoke billows and lingers and hangs out before it escapes, if it does at all. But we're going to start down here with a thorough vac. And this cleanup will take me half the day, 3/4 of the day, until everything is said and done. Like I said, it's a long, tedious process, but you can't miss a spot, or you'll have the customer coming back, and you don't want that. So we're going to run the extractor over the carpet area. The extractor has 4 ounces of the Unsmoke to 5 gallons of Tide Cold Water Clean and a generic rug shampoo. And we're just going to take our time and treat the carpet. To break the dilution down in detail for the extractor, it was 5 gallons of purified water, 4 ounces of the Tide Cold Water Clean, 4 ounces of the Unsmoke. All hard surfaces, including the seats, the door panels, the seals, the vents, the back of the seats, all treated with the simple green, fresh scent, which itself was diluted 5-to-1 before adding the 2 ounces of Unsmoke, which again encapsulates, it suspends, which in turn makes it easy to remove the particles and neutralize the odor. That's what these line of chemicals, the UNSMOKE Degrease, the Odor X 9D9, and the Odor X Last Resort. That is their main purpose. The seat belts cannot be ignored. They were wrapped around the passenger and got a good dose of the smoke contamination. So pulling those out as far as they can go, either locking them or holding them, treat them thoroughly before letting them retract, and before letting it retract all the way in, I'll shoot a good dose in the belt containment compartment. Right here, I'll give it a good 4 or 5 shots before I leave the belt go back in again. Another area that can't be overlooked is the deck at the back window. I thoroughly vac that. Then I'll treat the fabric with Tide Cold Water Clean and the Unsmoke. In a lot of cars, I commonly find more ash back here than I do in the ashtray, so I really hit this area hard. With the vents, all vents, front and rear, I'm going to spray in a mixture of the Spray 9, which kills the mold mildew and is a great deodorizer to begin with, and then added with the simple green fresh scent and the Unsmoke. It does a decent job if I force it back there as far as I can. You can't get it up through the vents all the way, but it does help a ton, just a little bit that I can get in there, especially turning on the air conditioner or heater. And from there we simply finish up the hard surfaces behind the front seat and the center console. Don't forget that pocket behind the front seats that has a little bit of felt in there, so we want to clean that up thoroughly as well. Have to get all the rubber seals. I mean, these are all bypassed by the smoke as it exits the car, so it's important to get those cleaned. As I said at the beginning, it's a tedious job, but not a square inch can be overlooked here to be successful. Now here's an area where you want to spend a ton of time, and I'll show you why when I show you the color of the microfiber when I'm done here. You want to spend some time, you want to take your time, you don't want to be in a hurry when you're up here. Hit it with every method you can. Every square inch counts up here. This is where the smoke hangs around, it just billows if it gets a chance to exit at all. So up here, to make sure that I have it completely cleaned and sanitized, I'm going to first hit it with the Tide cold water clean mixture, and then I'm going to grab the steamer and go over it a second time with that. And this is what we have collected just from the back left corner of the headliner itself. And if you think you're done at that point, well, think again, because the seats, the back seats, they fold front. And there is easy entry into the trunk compartment, so that has to be thoroughly cleaned as well. There's plenty of fabric, felt, an upholstery back there to get contaminated by the smoke. That has to be cleaned as well. Now, I'm also going to keep the vehicle overnight because we're going to lock the ionizer inside overnight. That negatively charges the particles, so when they pass through the ionizer, they stick to the positively charged filter and platelets. And that, teamed up with the chemicals, does one heck of a job. So basically, guys, these are non-ionic surfactants. They have ammonia hydroxide. They are encapsulants. They will encapsulate the soot. Smoke, guys, no matter if it's from a cigarette, cigar, recreational, whatever you want to call it, it's all soot. And it has to be eradicated by being encapsulated. And that is great for suspension, so you can then remove the soot in the various ways that we can go over. But that's what these chemicals do. This is the UNSMOKE All Degreaser. You have the Odor X 99, and you have the last resort, which is the Odor X Last Resort. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate. Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you next time.